I hope you've got your tea ready. We'll see. Got some thoughts to share with you today as we're here with tea and me, as we usually do. Um, First thing I have to show you my friend. You probably know her if you. I'm sure we have a lot of the same followers. I feel pretty confident about that. Anyway, she travels back and forth to Northern Ireland regularly. She's there right now, in fact. Um, anyway, she brought me back a tea set. So it's got this born and bred set of tea bags and a wee little cup of tea mug. So cute, right? And well, I might have oversteeped that because it is pretty dark. It's like very dark. It's a completely different color, actually. Maybe that's because it's Irish tea. Well, I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I gotta figure it. I just opened the bag, so I wasn't expecting it to be so dark. Is that the difference? Is American tea just very different? I guess maybe I usually drink herbal. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. Okay, well, hello. Thank you for being here. Um, for tea and me at 3, Thursdays at 3. Uh, Today we're talking about God and religion and spirituality. You know, these types of concepts, they're pretty, everyone has some type of concept or not of what they believe, right? And for just simplicity's sake, I am, first of all, the grief recovery method has nothing to do with religion. Nothing. There's nothing religious in the method, period. The method is what it is. It's for hurting people to show up and receive exact step-by-step teaching and instruction, and then practice to help their heart feel better. So the grief recovery method has no religious anything attached to it at all, period. We all have our own personal belief systems about such things. The specialists, as well as the students, the grievers, people who are coming in, we all have our own set of beliefs on different things. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to kind of encapsulate all of them by using the term God. So today, just for simplicity, so I'm not talking in circles 14 times every time, I'm just going to say God, and that's going to represent everything, just for ease. Okay. So a little story going back, I came to this method because my dad died. After he died, I was devastated. I felt so brokenhearted and lost, scared, alone. But there's a little bit more. So back in my old days, oh my sakes, Joe, look, it's think of her now. Dun, 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 dun. It's my wee cup of tea time. And are you bringing a cup of tea? So Joe, I just opened this package of this, by the way. I just opened it, and it's darker than American tea. Do you notice that? Is that because I oversteeped it? Did I miss you too. I love you. But did I mess it up? Is that what it, well, I'm gonna taste it, but it's too stinking hot right now. Anyway, okay, so for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna encapsulate all belief systems just using the term God. Yes, it is darker. Now, okay, I have to go to bed. Okay, love you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for checking in. Love you. Bye. And thank you for confirming, because I thought, man, I killed it, but no, it's great. All right, you're here with me here in tea spirit anyway. There you go. Because I'm having a wee cup of tea, where Joe's gonna go have some, I call her Joe, where she's gonna go have a wee little dream. Okay, so my dad died. And I had all these types of feelings. What I noticed is my history as a surgical ICU nurse in the Air Force, that didn't help me. I felt, pretty intelligent. I studied relentlessly, always. I was known for studying, always buying the weird books that people would maybe buy in college or something, but I just wanted to know it. And I would sit there and read them. I was weird, I know. But of all the knowledge I had gained over the years, that didn't help me feel better after my dad died. Um, Part of my military time, I was part of the suicide awareness team. So we would give briefings. I would assist in giving briefings to people, and there was always annual training. There was all kinds of training about suicide awareness and prevention. If you are a veteran or a first responder, if you are active duty, you know, we get a lot of training. They're always talking about some kind of training, and it includes suicide awareness and prevention every year. So I was part of, giving those briefings sometimes. The thing is, I couldn't prevent it. My dad was already dead. So now what? I was trained in giving a med, starting a line, even just breaking down and doing running a code with physical means. I was trained to start a drain, empty a drain, clear a drain, um, something, push a med. But there was nothing I could do. I didn't know what to do. Of course, I'd been around people where their loved ones died. I mean, that's part of working in an ICU in the hospital. But there was nothing to train me what to do after someone important died. So I sat in a chair in my house after everyone left. You've probably heard this before. And I would sit. And for me, I would hold my Bible and I would sit there and just clutch it because sometimes I couldn't find words. Sometimes I would shout, like, come on. Oh, are you serious? This is, sometimes I was frustrated. Sometimes I was hurt. Um, and that hurt would come, well, I was always hurt, but that hurt would come out as frustration or anger. It would come out in just tears of sadness. It would come out, basically, I was just frozen in this foggy type of stare. And sometimes I could focus enough to open the Bible and I would read. And I was just on one scripture that just was replaying to me. And it was Psalm 5:3. Basically, I'm placing my heart before you and I'm waiting expectantly. And I kept waiting and I kept waiting, and my heart wasn't getting better. And so that was a mind dance too. Like, well, do you hear me? Am I not loved after all? There was a whole bunch of emotion and thought and wonder and worry and fear and sadness all mixed into one period of time. Basically, I had been trained to save people. I couldn't save myself from this sense of falling or having already fallen feeling that I had. I felt dead. I felt lost. I felt alone. I felt stuck. I felt directionless. I just felt awful. So eventually, after I think about a week of just sitting in this fog, I know that my life's not going to stop moving. Kids still need to be fed and cleaned and cared for. And, that life wasn't going to stop. So I could just sit there for a week and sleep and nurture myself. And so it was just such a horrible, exhausting time. Anyway, I called a grief recovery method specialist. I called that specialist. And on that phone call was the first time that I felt safe, that I felt heard, that I felt a sense of wonder, a sense of maybe this could work. Maybe I could feel better. Maybe this is something. So I had that. I went to the first class, I think about a week later, and I was alive. I learned so much in that first class, and you will too. The first class, is going to be rich and wonderful and helpful and give you tools and information that you can start using right then in your life. And I felt so empowered after one class, and I felt really equipped. And also, good God, can we speed this up? Because I really want to I want to feel better now. So there was a mix. I walked out of that first class feeling all this. I would walk every morning. I would walk my daughter to school, and then I would walk the town. We have this neat walking system in the town. And so I would walk 6 miles, jog, walk, do what I did, pray out loud, and people would just think I would be crazy as I was walking by, but I was talking out loud to no one at my side, no visible human. And anyway, on one of these walks, I ran into, at this time I belonged to a big international church, and I ran into someone on that walk, and I was telling them I found this class, and I think it's gonna be great for me. I'm really excited for it. I really think it can help me feel better. And that person responded with, all you should need is God. Like, God should be more than enough. And I felt not necessarily just flicked, I felt punched in the gut. I felt ashamed, I felt embarrassed, I felt judged is what it was, thinking, "Oh my gosh, am I messing up? Am I hurting God?" I called my specialist sobbing in tears, who reassured me that I'm okay to keep going through the class. Keep going, keep going. They just don't know. So I did. I went through that class and I continued to do the work for years, every week for the first year, every week. After a few years, I was eventually trained and I was teaching other people and helping them feel better. And the results are obvious. Like, they cannot be denied. They are visible. We can someone, when they first call me, their voice is one way, their eyes, their tone, their volume. There's just I can hear it. And then at some point through the course, and definitely by the end, everything's different. Their tone, their volume, the amount of squeeze that their voice is having to travel through. I could hear what their muscles are doing. It's the strangest thing. I can hear it. Okay, so this cannot be denied, and they do not deny it either. Usually, I have only had maybe one or two, and then years later they come back because it's the only thing that worked. So you take that with a grain of salt. Um, Anyway, years later, after I'd been teaching for quite a while, I would talk with the leadership of the place, and I really think this could be helpful. I would talk all the time, like they couldn't make me be quiet. I really think this could be helpful. People are really hurting. Um, they need help. They need something. And again, this judgmental sentiments would come my way. They just need to be with God. They really just need to be. No one should ever need something more than God. And well, that's a whole nother tangent. I can go on tangents for this for days. Y'all put your questions down there if you have them. But that went on for a really long time. And I would hear about these conversations happening around me, saying, Rachelle, my gosh, if people would just, spend more time with God, they would be fine. They didn't care that I was known in my church life as well. Hi. They didn't care that in my church life I was known for sleeping 2 to 4 hours. That was my regular, because I would not miss waking up early to start my day with scripture and with prayer and with devotion and with learning and trying to grow and contemplating how to help other people and praying for them and thinking about other people and carrying them in my heart. I was known for that. That's what I was known for. That was what I was known for. And that's why I was called to assist with leadership activities regularly. So eventually, after being told that all you should need is God, all you should need is God, and I'm watching the people hurt, I couldn't take that type of messaging, conflicting sight. There was too much energy for me to carry. So I removed myself from that situation, from that environment. And then I would hear stories later from other people who still were there about how I would be used in the group settings as, she's no longer here anymore. See, that's why people shouldn't be seeking anything but God. They should only need God. They should not look outside God. See what happened to her? See, she left. She's no longer here. Don't hang out with her. You shouldn't be trying to go to her program. You should be seeking God. Of course, those were like knives to my soul, but that's a whole other issue. That's not the point today. Today, the point is God and religion and spirituality, and how does grief recovery line up with that? I can go on. This could be the rest of the only thing I talk about for the rest of my life, but I'm gonna stay focused on topic here. Anyway, the message for me was that I should feel ashamed, and I did. I wasn't doing enough, which I did overly did. I overly did my share plus other people's. Um, I must be doing something wrong because the outcomes aren't coming the way I thought they would. Well, if I'm doing something wrong, then of course God's not going to hear me. So he must not even love me because I'm not even doing the right. You see, what was happening was, well, I knew that I was hurting and I knew there were other people like me. So I didn't stop. I kept seeking and praying and fasting and studying and learning and growing and talking and asking for advice and input. And I was nuts about it because I was really serious. I really wanted to feel better. And the thing about it is, even though I did all of these things, and on the external side, it seemed like Rochelle's the one. We need people to kind of follow that lead a little bit until I left the building. What was really going on though is the pain was persisting. Hence why I was using grief recovery method so frequently. So that's going to put people into conflict with themselves when they are trying and doing all the things they're told, and they're trying and they're doing and they're doing, and the pain persists. They're naturally either going to turn away from God, whatever that spiritual situation might be or religious situation might be. They're naturally going to turn away from for all these different reasons, or they could turn toward. Well, my training with grief recovery method, my practice, this was my life sustaining practice here. So this taught me to turn toward pain, toward discomfort, toward the situation. Look again, what am I not seeing? What is around the corner that I don't understand? So what I started to understand is this was my body. Okay, so I have this tiny little jar, and my body originally was full of all this thorny, pin prickly emotion. Inside, I literally have thumbtacks, the pin prickly, thorny, ouch, doesn't feel good. And that's what I was carrying so much of. And so my prayer, my fasting, and my seeking and my asking and my studying and everything I was doing, that was just being shoved in and around all this prickly emotion that had built up over my lifetime. What the grief recovery method taught me to do is to start being curious. Why does my pain persist? So the kind Cole, thank you for being here. So, oops, I almost pushed the wrong button again. So what the grief recovery method does is it teaches you how to realize that, hey, you've got pin pricklies inside of you. They don't feel good. You've got all this built up, unresolved emotional content. And it doesn't matter how much oh crumbs, I just dropped that in my tea. It doesn't matter how much God you try to shove in, you're full. You're full. You can only take in so much. Maybe I could pour some water in and it will get around the corners, but like I can only take in so much, right? So here's the thing. Whatever your belief system is, again, I'm using the word God just to kind of encompass all ideas at this moment, but there are plenty of people who have no belief system of any kind, and that's perfectly fine. That's not what this is about. The grief recovery method is not about that. What the grief recovery method was teaching me to do throughout this whole time for me was to get curious. Why do I not actually feel different on the inside? It taught me how to find my pin pricklies, the unresolved emotional stuff that I was carrying that was really quite painful, and then pull one out at a time and do all the recovery work necessary so that when I take this pin out, it's not going back in. There might be a new pin that comes in from a new experience or a new thought or a new awareness. But again, if that happens, I could find that one and know exactly what to do to take that one out as well. A lot of times we're just full of all these pin pricklies and we have no idea what to do to remove them from the inside and all the ways that it's affecting us. And so we start engaging our whole full self in exercise, in yoga, in meditation, in prayer for me, in study, in learning, in doing for other people, in shopping, in having sex, in dating, in socialize. Do you see what I'm saying? Clubbing, whatever, listening to music. So, not that any of those things are bad, but it's not going to erase the fact that I'm carrying all this unresolved, pinprickly emotion inside, and my whole self is going to engage in each thing. So, I'm going to carry all these things with me. Now, on the purpose of, or the thought of God and spirit and religion or whatever it might be, again, the benefit is grief recovery method is learning to remove some of the content, because when I remove the content, I have a little bit more space. And then if I remove more content, I have a little bit more space. And if I just continue this practice, I have a whole lot more space for whatever it is that I'm trying to focus on. So if it's God, if it's a certain religion, if it's a certain type of spiritual practice or a spiritual awareness, I get to take my focus off of the unresolved pain that I'm carrying around, and I get to be more fully present. More fully present means, so before when I was full, I might study and pray and fast and do all of these things. They're wonderful things for me. For me, they are wonderful things. But it was almost like a nervous clinging to, I have to do this. Like, life will never get better. I'll never get better. Nothing will ever be right. Nothing will ever feel right if I don't stay hard on this train. Hard on this train. Hard on that train. Nothing will ever get better. I have to do it. I have to have this daily practice. I have to have this, maybe a couple times a day. I have to do it. Versus it was almost like I couldn't see or feel really, because I was so full, right? Okay, bye. Thank you for being here. I was so full. But as I started to remove things, I could see and feel more, because my focus was not on what was already inside of me. It was on what I would see or hear or notice. So when a walk might have been prayer, please help me, please help that person, please focus, please show me how to do this, please, whatever, help me have more patience, help me, whatever it was, I was missing the fact that, oh my gosh, I was pretty good at this, but again, do you see that squirrel? Wow, how do they know what to do? How is it just in their design to find food? Oh my gosh, do you hear the birds over there? What is that, a hawk? And my mind can go like this and find, for me, God is life. So God is in the life of the squirrel, he's in the life of the bird, he's in that little ant right there, he's in that grass. How does that house just stay still? Do they know that that house is such a neat thing? It keeps them warm and protected. I hope they lock the doors at night, because, my mind can just go into this wandering place. And so whatever my chosen belief system is, whether it's God or spirit or religion or whatever it is, I can integrate with that more. And that's how the grief recovery method is so valuable, because I don't want to shove in life around all my pin pricklies and just think like, yeah, it's so great, isn't it so great? Everything's so great all the time. But I'm really full of these painful, unresolved emotions living inside of me. Versus, hey, empty some of that stuff out by taking the tools, actions, and of the grief recovery method, and then boom, we have more space to bring in more awareness, more connection, more truth, more spirit, more understanding, more compassion, more love, more gentleness, more life. How about laughter? When I hear people say, and when I have heard people say, all you should need is God, who's to say God didn't bring this method to you? Because he knows what you're carrying inside. And that was never the goal, just to carry the unresolved emotional pain and pretend like it's not a big deal. That's not it. There's more. You could take my word for it, or you could try the method. Let me know how it works for you. Maybe you do more than just try it once and you incorporate that to be part of your lifestyle, just as you would, running or yoga or Pilates or regular facials or manicures or whatever it might be. What if cleaning out what you carry on the inside became your regular practice? What could life look like then? I don't know. I'd like to hear from you. And if I don't see you in class, which I hope I do, I hope to see you in the comments. Go over to my YouTube page and comment there, email me or text me or try to get a phone call in. I'd love to hear from you. I love you, everybody. Thanks for being here at Tea with me at 3.